Greetings and salutations, friends. I am Numithrenter, and once again we find ourselves in Genshin with another new event quest. This time, outside the canvas, inside the lens, dew-kissed chapter. You once again encounter the illustrator Asagiri in Fontaine. She is expanding her artistic endeavors to the nation of Hydro. So, let's have a gander and see what it is we'll be doing for Miss Asagiri. To Ramartime Harbor. And to the very first of the statues of the 7 that you might encounter in Fontaine. Okay, oh. Looks like she is below us now. Ah, there she is. Oh, now that must be quite a sight, seeing the Hudex of Fontaine, the Chief Justice himself, Nouvelette, suddenly come parachuting down to have a word with you. Oh, that must be quite the interesting encounter. Hello, Miss Asagiri. Oh, you're cold? I would give you a jacket, but Aether doesn't have one. Asagiri, what are you doing here? How did you make it out this far? I mean, there is a public transport right over there. I assume she took the water bus. Oh. You sure you're all right? Oh, you snuck out. Coming all the way here from Inazuma is quite the trip, my lady. And if you're in poor health, that might not have been a good idea. On this, I would tend to agree. I prefer to see the sights with my own eyes. There is something special about actually visiting a place, as opposed to simply looking at it in film or on a photograph or on a map. Nothing quite like actually being there. It's true. And you even brought all your painting tools with you, I see. Wonderful. Always good to see an artist actually make a good living. It is hard enough in our world. Very well then, but don't go running off. I'd be a bit worried if you did. What? I don't think it would be wise to pick a fight with the clockwork guards of Fontaine. And besides that, why would you have to fight them? They are for security purposes, at least in the court they are. The ones in the countryside might be a little more, out of control. I've never actually been sure why some of the mechs in the open fields are violent the second they see you. Oh, perhaps that's part of the Archon quest. I'll actually have to get around to that at some point. Regardless, don't go picking a fight with a giant mech, please, Asagiri. Yes. Oh. Okay. I was worried about exactly how this would take shape. Because some of these event quests do have very limited timers on them. But for this, looks like I'll be fine, just sitting back and waiting until all of them have been unlocked. And with that in mind, I think I'm going to cut this here, and I'll see you all in 5 days. Okay, it's been a week. And so now, all of the photography locations and their rewards ought to be ready. Alright, the first one. The Great Tree and Legends. Constructing a classic story must necessarily also involve a legendary place. For example, a cathedral where the hero has stored their trusty blade, a cave where pirates have stashed their stash, or a castle from which the demon lord might be awakened. And a giant tree is a classic even amongst classics, a timeless landmark, whether it be as a journey's starting point or its destination. As it so happens, this author's tale begins in a nation not too unlike Mondstadt, so I'm sure you'll find a most suitable reference location there. Okay. Hold on. Oh, okay. Multiple criteria. Alright. I thought I would simply be... taking a photo of the tree here. But evidently... there's a little more to it. Okay. You must equip Asagiri's dedicated Fontaine camera and interact with the photo-taking points to enter photo-taking mode. The process is split into an adjustment phase, where you determine the photo settings, and a photo-taking phase, in which you can move and use your skills. During the adjustment phase, you need to first select your camera settings, and then proceed to adjust the position and angle of the photo. Take note that the photo-taking points must be within the camera frame. Once you have confirmed your settings, it's time to move on to the photo-taking phase. During the photo-taking phase, the angle of the finalized image will be decided by the settings you adjusted previously. During the photo-taking process, the direction of the shoot will be indicated by the reflector beam. If you wish to adjust your camera settings again, you can tap the pause challenge and return to your preset, thus starting the setting adjustment process over again. Once you have finished taking a photo, If you wish to continue taking pictures using the current settings, you can tap Keep Taking Photos to return to the photo taking phase. Complete the photo taking objectives to claim rewards. Once all objectives have been fulfilled at once, additional marks will be displayed on the event page. Alright. So for this one, we're going to need Jean. No two ways about it. An animo character from Mondstadt. Yeah, nobody else really fits the bill. No curiosity. Yeah, the only other animo character from Mondstadt would be Sucrose. Farazan is from Sumeru. Sayu from Inazuma. Heizo from Inazuma, and Lynette from Fontaine. So there's only two that I could use to fill all of these requirements. Sucrose and Jean.
We may leave at any time.
Okay. So reading it is one thing, but let's see how I interact with this. Oh, right. Ah, there's the inventory. Ah. Nope, misclick. Come on. Okay. We'll go for straight on. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I think that did it. Let's check. Huh. Alright. Okay. Slightly... Slightly easier than I thought. Okay. So, next up. From afar, gazing upon towers foreign. I'm sure you know the scene in most novels in which the protagonist, never having seen the world before, suddenly steps into a prosperous city and starts gawking in shock at the strange new architecture that surrounds them. I'm not exactly from the boonies, but I was deeply moved by the sight of the giant waterfalls and Ramartime Harbor itself nonetheless. The third volume that this commissioner has written covers the life the protagonist leads after arriving in the big city. When they first saw the place, they made a gesture to pump themselves up. I'd hazard a guess that Romartime Harbor atop that waterfall would make for a perfect cover image. Interesting. Ah, good. I was worried for half a second that I wouldn't have a fast travel point right next to it. But indeed, it was not so. Okay. Yes, quite the view indeed. We'll go from there, I think. Kind of too far away. Or rather, Farina was too close, so I didn't actually catch her performance. Close enough. We still get the reward, as we've done all the challenge. Met all of its criteria, I should say. Yep. Let's just double check, shall we? Yep. Okay, next up. A Quiet Homeland. Light novel readers have a special nickname for the place where the protagonist is briefly active before they go and do their great deeds. The happy old home. In some works, such a place plays host to neither powerful friends nor foes, which allows the protagonist to display their stunning rate of growth. But many readers also find that this makes the said stories rather old-fashioned and formulaic, and robs the initial companions one meets of significance. What do I think, you ask? Well, I'm of the latter camp. Those the protagonist meets at the start should also constantly improve. That's the reality of how it is in Teyvat, and it just wouldn't be any fun otherwise. Speaking of which, what sort of place would you find closest to the concept of said happy old home? Okay. Characters walking or running. Needs to wield pyro and a claymore. Well, that's D-Luke for you. And as it happens, I've been working on my D-Luke. Leveling up his talents, as they were a bit lackluster. Out of curiosity, let's see how many... Yeah, pyro claymores. That's coming. The, Shinyan, or D-Luke. A rather small group, I dare say. And interestingly, 2 5 stars and 2 4 stars. Okay. Oh, and I don't have anybody in the frame. Let's pull this back a bit. Okay. Looks like that. Let's try that again. Okay. This time we got all of them. Next up, the beauty of mystique. When the story enters a phase in which a puzzle must be investigated, shifting the stage to a mysterious yet beautiful place, it is a good time to tug on the reader's heartstrings. This author's work has entered a critical stage in said puzzle-solving process, and as such, she'd like me to draw a cover for her new volume that combines a fantastical atmosphere with captivating beauty. I've heard that Erigny's forest is the sort of place that fits the bill. No idea if I pronounced that correctly. Character is from Fontaine, and who wields the power of cryo. So that would either be Risley or Charlotte then. And normal attack. Okay. So we'll need to swap out someone on the party for Charlotte. Because I don't have Risley. First, we'll get rid of these little pests. And pick up a few lake-like lilies, because why not? Now, I did in fact build Charlotte.
Let's get this interview started.
But alas, I did not, or have not yet, made any particularly good teams with her in them. I do have a Eula team that uses her though, so that's something. Okay. We'll go from there, I think. Alright. There are a lot of these. But that does mean lots of Prima gems for the trouble. Alright, next up. Of Passions Vast. This time, I ran into an author who enjoys writing great scenes of war, and they are good. After reading his novel and his cover art request, I find my blood boiling too. In the latest volume, the author depicts an army facing down foes many times their number, an impregnable wall of steel, standing firm and defending disadvantageous terrain against terrible foes. The cover needs to leave a kind of panicked terror at first glance, before inspiring an indomitable will to fight. I've never received such a request before, but my guess is that an ancient, famous battlefield would be the best reference. Any ideas? Cinnabar Cliff. Character is in an idle animation. Oh, character wields the power of Geo and is a polearm user, so Zhongli then. Ah. Let's see. Trying to think who else would fit the bill. I have Zhongli, so this will be easy enough. Let's grab this while I'm at it. Poor Lapis. So let's see. What do we get with the combo Geo Polearm? Oh, even more exclusive club. Just Yunjin and Zhongli. Good thing I have Zhongli already. We'll go there. Now we just need to wait for him to idle.
Where do you want to go next? If you'd like to see Liyue's tourist spots, I have a few references.
He's talking, but is that... Nope, didn't think so. That ought to do it. And it did indeed. Alright. Yep. Success. Next up, terror or sorrow. Have you heard? In places where many lives have been lost, their fear and sorrow seep into the very soil, and though trees and flowers may sprout and grow thereafter, the air will still carry the faint scent of sadness. That's what the historian who commissioned it said. Either way, this author is penning a novel rooted in historical facts that has been suitably dramatized in some places for effect, and so will need a cover that's bright, yet carries that note of tragedy. He recommended that I take use scenery from Elinas as a reference, though I must confess that I do not really understand why. I wonder if that's supposed to be that I make use of scenery. Or is take not supposed to be there, so it reads, he recommended that I use scenery from Elinas. Yeah. So, using charge attack, power of electro, and must be wielding a sword. Well, that could either be the Electro Traveler or Clarande. But I have Clarande, so I can just use her. Alright, let's switch her in. Yeah, like I said, I'm using Charlotte and my Eula team at the moment for that cryo-resonance crit effect. What if I get Wriothesley eventually? She would make a good companion for him, at least. Until I can get Shunha. Shunha would be a much better boost for Wriothesley. But Charlotte still makes a decent healer regardless. And now let's go with Clarinde, or Clarande. You know what, while I'm debating how to pronounce her name with myself, why don't I just hear her say it?
I am Clarande, a champion duelist of the court of Fontaine.
Clarande. Clarande, okay. Again, you wouldn't know that from how it's spelled. Clarande. Okay.
Stabilize!
Illusion shattered.
Let's have a little fisticuffs on the way.
May I?
Ready.
Incidentally, I find that Farina can make a decent companion healer for Clarande. And the way that she makes, well, that is effective rather, is simply for the fact that she has The ability with her, Songstress of Many Waters to boost Claran's bond of life consistently. You can do the same-ish thing with Kokomi, and that's what I used Kokomi for a while. But I found
If these items are
that
unclaimed,
Clarand
we may take them without controversy.
wanders around the place a little too much. She moves around too quickly, so she often gets out of range for Kokomi's healing, and for that reason, does not receive the buff to her bond of life with it.
There is no escape.
Whereas
The show
with
begins!
Farina, the bond of life is very consistent. So it is an indirect buff. Though, admittedly, probably not the best use of Farina. At the moment, I have them together specifically so that I can gather companionship XP to level up their friendship simultaneously. As at the moment, they are both relatively low. Okay. We'll go there. Alright. That about covers it, I believe. Alright. Still got 8 to go. Retiring home. They say that the toughest segment of a long-form story with many twists and turns is to have a dignified ending that gives each main character a satisfying conclusion. This time, I've encountered an amazing author who's managed to do just that. Now, she even intends to separately publish a follow-up epilogue detailing what happens to the characters after they've retired back to the place where they'll grow old. As such, we'll need a cover reference that involves a quiet, peaceful village with lots of elderly residents. So, use elemental skill. Wields the power of cryo and character comes from Leeway. Well, Chung-Yoon then. If it were specifically for a polearm cryo user from Leeway, then I think I'd be out of luck, as I don't have Shunha. But we can check quickly enough. Okay. We'll go cryo. Cryo from Leeway would leave us with Chung-Yoon. Or Chi-Chi. We'll go with Chung-Yoon. Oh, actually, we could do Ganyu too, now that I look at it. Yeah. The only one I don't have for that would be Shenha.
Present.
But Chung-Yoon works for now. That'll do. Alright. Next up, Mirrored stars. Sometimes a place of pure and simple beauty can do more to flesh a character out than complex surroundings. This author's rustic taste has resulted in this commission for a mirror-like water's surface combined with a starry or clear sky, which will together reflect the protagonist. Simple is good as well. A simple cover might just stand out in a sea of complex ones. I hear that the east side of Mount Autumneki, nope, don't know how to pronounce that, is home to beautiful waters, so could you please go and check it out? Very well. Must wield the power of Dendro and must wield a bow. So either Kale or Tainari then. Fortunately, Kale you get for free. And I got lucky enough to get Tainari. Although, I wonder if I should call that lucky, considering that I wound up missing out on Nahida to get him instead. Alright, we'll switch around.
Per your wishes.
I'll rebuild my Clarand team. I'm pretty sure I have Tainari with a team, yep. So we'll just switch to him for a moment. Alright, and now I need to wait till 1900 hours. Okay. Huh. And I don't even have to have him doing anything in particular. Okay, let's see if that did it. Yep. Success. Next. Twilight Flames. Lively festivals, my favorite activity. A certain Fontanian author shares my sentiments, and has written of just such an event, based on a ceremony taking place in a foreign land. The eventide lit scene under which the male and female protagonists agree to meet is very popular amongst readers, and is a suitable choice for your cover art. You know what? The more I think about it, the more it seems like Amakane Island's the best choice for such a scene. Okay, between 1800 and 2000. Wields the power of Electro and is from Inazuma. Okay, let's head over. Oh. Teleport is disabled. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I did not officially leave that mode. Okay, so we need Electro from Inazuma. Lucky we have Raiden. Who fits the bill perfectly. Couldn't really be anything more Inazuman than Raiden herself. Okay. We will have to run a little bit. Simply because there's no fast travel point on the little island. But that won't delay us for long. Let's see. Electro from Inazuma. Obviously, Yaimiko will be the second choice for that. Let me see. So, another choice would be Kujo-Sara. I forget... No, Beto's Leeway, if I remember correctly. Though she's a bit of a pirate, so she goes wherever she pleases. And another choice would be Shinobu. Okay. But since Raiden is already part of so many of my teams, well, I need not go out of my way to pick another Electro Inazuman. Okay. Okay. Oh. 1800 to 20. Oh, 21. So we just went out of the range for it. So we'll need to wait a little bit. Oh. Got the angle slightly off for that, but oh well. Not like I'm keeping any of these photos. Okay. Another one down. Just 5 to go. Flowers in the eerie mist. The client this time is a writer skilled at weaving suspense. His adventure novels sport elegant settings, heart-stopping short stories, and tumultuous narrative progression that has a really mixed reputation amongst readers. Anyway, in his latest short, in this suspenseful novel, the protagonist's team is currently traversing a sea of flowers, shrouded by an eerie mist. The author has also stressed that a good cover will require reference work with Elinus, rather than Surumi Island, as I suggested. Oh well, he's the boss, I guess. Okay, wields power of Animo. Weapon must be a catalyst, so that would be Sucrose then. Okay. I wonder... I have a handful of Animo units. Jean foremost amongst them. But I wonder... Oh.
Illusion shot! Hold the
We
line!
stumbled ourselves into trouble. Could you stop floating away from me?
Hey there!
Makes it harder to kill you if you literally just move away from all my efforts. Okay. So here's the photo op. Let's see now. So, let's see what Animo units I have. Farazan uses a bow, Sayu a claymore. Heizo, I think, uses a catalyst. And then, of course, Sucrose uses a catalyst. And Lynette and Jean both use swords. Okay, so I had two choices.
I want to help.
Either Hazo or Sucrose. We'll go Sucrose this time. Because I think she's cute. Okay. Oh, walking. Okay, good enough. Okay. Now just 4 to go. Leaf Green Moonlight. Our client said that this volume opens with the protagonist unable to sleep, pacing in a courtyard under the clear moonlight, only to be dragged into some strange battle. He also specifically noted that this protagonist is based on a researcher from Sumeru, in which case the cover should be set in some botanical garden in Sumeru. I love clients who are straightforward about their requests, although I might have preferred it if he had not misspelled Pardis. Not that I blame him. He is a Fontanian author who rarely leaves home, and has never even seen the Research Institute. Only due to a lack of time, of course, which appears to be a common issue for many authors. So, character and idle animation, wields the power of Dendro and is from Sumeru. Well, I do have several picks for that. Simplest will be for me to swap over to my Alhaitham team. It's very easy to tell when Alhaitham's doing his idle animation, particularly if he summons his mirrors during it.
We'll need a strategy.
Okay. Okay, now we just need to wait for Alhaitham to do an idle. Come on. There we go. Next up, the storm suspended. I must say that of all my clients this time, this one's probably the best in terms of appreciating life. Before the final battle in his work, his protagonists resolved a periodic crisis and decided to conserve their strength before the climax, enjoying a period of leisurely rest in a countryside mansion. The mansion is Fontanian in design, and possesses everything you could possibly want in abundance, especially food. Even I got hungry reading it. I hear that there is just such a scene in the southern area of Elinus. Could I trouble you to help me find some inspiration there? So, wields the power of Geo. My weapon must be a claymore. Interesting. Ah, easy, Navia. either Navia or Noel. Both are Geo Claymore users. So we'll swap over as soon as we get into position. Okay. And now for Navia to take center stage. Okay. Yeah, it's just a straight blast to the camera. But it worked out just fine. Okay. Another gold mark. Just 2 to go. Money, money, money. The protagonist finds an amazing treasure during their adventures, and yet such treasure cannot just be spent directly like money, nor can you eat it. So how can you extract the value from it? The answer lies in the bustling markets. Authors love the sense of infinite mercantile opportunity with dark undercurrents that comes with a harbor. As our hero tries to sell the treasure, a thrilling adventure may also unfold. For example, they might get robbed by the local gangs. This author's no different, and he's fixed on Port Ormos in particular, which I too think is the perfect choice. So, character must wield the power of Hydro and use a catalyst. So, Nouvelette for the win. Though admittedly, I don't imagine seeing him all that often in Port Ormos. Indeed, seeing him outside of Fontaine at all would be somewhat odd. He is the Eudex, after all, the supreme judge of Fontaine, and I imagine that he therefore has little luxury for traveling. Oh, now that I thought about it, I don't have to switch to Nouvelette, because Kokomi fits the bill too. There we go. Okay. And out of idle curiosity, let's see how many characters fit the Hydro Catalyst requirements. Not Siegewein, alas. Ah. Well, could be Barbara, Mona, Kokomi, or Nouvelette. Nouvelette was simply the first to spring to mind. Okay. Now on to the final challenge. Magical Branch. Remember the giant tree at the journey's beginning we spoke of earlier? A magical tree or large plant that strengthens characters is also quite a common feature in many novels. Such magical plants can give the protagonist an opportunity for a game-changing breakthrough, and the related plots and subplots can go on a couple dozen chapters, bringing in some cash to tide you over while buying some time for the rest of the plot to ripen. The second half of that was the client's words, not mine. I've heard that there is a giant glowing willow in the Erinys forest. I suppose that would serve as the best possible basis for a magical plant. So, Character wields the power of Pyro, and must be a polearm user. So that would be Arlecchino. I'd have to think for a second. Oh, Shanling would be another good choice for that. So, let's swap over. My Diluc team is not set in stone at the moment, I'm still working on it. So, Pyro and Polearm. Ah, Chevreuse is another option. But she would make it an LA overload team rather than Vaporize. So, we'll be going with Shanling for the moment. I was curious to see how well Farina worked with Diluc in a Vaporize setup. And the answer is relatively well. Not perfectly. And it does necessitate the use of a healer. But every Farina team has that caveat. They must all have dedicated healers to be effective with Farina and her HP mechanics. At the moment I'm using Kokomi as the dedicated healer, but Jean would probably be better. At the moment I'm simply going for maximum application of Hydro. Perhaps the Pyro Archon will provide a breath of fresh air for Diluc teams as well. Unless, of course, she's the main DPS, in which case Diluc falls into a pit of despair. Okay, I believe it's between 1800 and 2000. So, let's set the time. 1810 ought to work. Okay. Yes, that is a rather mystical looking tree. Huh. And I don't even have to have Shanling do anything. Very well.
I can't decide whether pyro slimes taste better with salt and pepper or garlic and herbs.
Pyro slimes. You wouldn't think of selling that in your restaurant, would you? And finally finished all of them. Oh well. I guess the only thing left to do, apart from picking up our reward for the Battle Pass, is to go back to Asagiri and see if she has anything to say now that we have completed all of her contracts. Yep, there we go. Okay. Would you believe that I actually haven't built my Shanling yet? I have an artifact set for her, and she's using Favonius Lance. But I haven't actually leveled up her talents yet. Though I do intend on fixing that. Sooner rather than later. But we'll see how it goes. Hello there, Asagiri. How long will you be staying in Fontaine? Yes. Oh, you most certainly are if you left without telling anybody. And are your paintings a hit with the Fontanians? Oh, I can relate. Ay, pronunciation of names can be quite the hassle, particularly if their names originating from a foreign tongue. But I won't complain about that too much. And with that, I think we've brought this little event to a close. Actually, it took a fair bit longer than I was expecting it to. Oh well. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want more of my content, do check out my Elden Ring Let's Play. And as ever, have a good day.